I had a teacher in 6th grade that said, even though Dalia really enjoys art class and enjoys painting and stuff like that, she likes it a lot more than her older sister. However, she's not as good as her older sister. I have a vision for a painting to go above my bed. I want it to look professional, abstract, vintagey, landscape. Do I have the skills necessary to do that? No, I do not. God bless the Dutch painter on YouTube, because she is a professional artist and she has uploaded many tutorials on how to abstract paint. I watched all of her tutorials. My first attempt was just to build a little palette. So this is a palette using these 4 colors of paint: yellow and added white, orange, added white, etc, etc, etc. Did the same with black, and then I mixed them, and I basically made like a whole palette. So when I want a color that I'm gonna use, I can like look at this palette and think, okay, which of these colors or which kind of tonality do I want? And then I know how to make it. And just so you know, this was like my day 1 painting. Not that good, but like pretty good. And then my day 2 painting, getting better. Here we are. Day 3, I went into some of the design options I was considering for my bedroom specifically. Now I want to know your opinion, because I'm really going in between like having pinks and mauves and neutrals, and then the other option would be greens and neutrals, which is like a nice, like, you know, leafy kind of vibe. So I am way too indecisive to pick which design I actually wanted to go with. Could not tell you which one. So I decided to get these 2 little canvases and paint out my concepts and see if I could actually even do them. And this was a learning process, let's say that, because I really struggled to get the right colors that I wanted. For example, I wanted pink and that was purple, and that sky was supposed to be like a very, very faint light blue. But the bottom one, I mean, like, it's way too vivid. And then even for the green colors, they were just not the right tones, and they were too thick and dark and deep in color. And so it was kind of a struggle, because I was trying to like lighten different areas and layer, but my paint was already too thick on there. But nonetheless, I still think it can come together. It's all about the layering. You want to do thin layers and just get that dimension. So this would be kind of like pinky mauvey, and this would be kind of like the greenish vibe. I really thought this one was good, to be honest, better than this one. But I ran into some issues along the way. Like they weren't the exact colors I wanted. They didn't have as much depth as I wanted, because I had laid down the colors too strongly instead of layering thin layers and stuff like that. But I thought these were good. So let me know which vibe you would go with, especially in your space. More the pinky mauvey, what do you think for me? Or more the greens. Keep in mind, I do have pillows that are like in the pinky mauvey kind of color scheme. I really like them. I also think the greens could look really good, so let me know. And my husband said he preferred this one, this vibe. So I said, okay, let me just try again, because at this point, I'm just like procrastinating. I feel so nervous to take this on for like a big canvas. So someone DM'd me and said that they recommend using like a watercolor pad or multimedia paper. So that's what I did, just for this bigger print, to see if I could do this better, more abstract, more layered. And honestly, I think it turned out pretty good. What do you think? This is where I'm at with that. I just did this yesterday and popped this in a thrifted frame that I had. And I thought, okay, I think I can get the kind of style a little bit better. This isn't 100% perfect, but it's better. Color variations and stuff, not super opaque. So like, just to compare, haha, you see the difference? Look at the improvement. What? I'm so proud of that. But alas, it is time. I'm going to start on my becoming a professional painter journey right now. I do plan to DIY a frame for this piece as well, a vintagey style gold frame, and I'm gonna make it from wood, so stay tuned for that. But either way, let's get started. Fingers crossed I will actually be able to pull this together and teach you some of the technique that I've learned along the way. So let's get started. So this is my canvas. And as you can see, it's a pretty big canvas. I think it's gonna be the perfect size. I already have like a very oversized bed situation. I still want that to be the focus, and I plan on hanging a sconce on either side of the bed. So I feel like this in the center and then a sconce on either side, and given the whole layout and everything, I think this should be the right size, especially when I frame it, my DIY frame, and make it like about probably 4 inches bigger. So.
Well, you know what they say, there are no kingdoms without rulers. Are you ready for change? We could be
first time ever in my entire life, I'm realizing that a canvas is like literally raw canvas that is not super white. And when you buy it, like a proper canvas, it's just painted white. The back is like unfinished. Oh my God. Okay, I have to show you. Do you see how this is like not white? This is the back of the canvas and this is the front of the canvas material. Super bright white. I have never noticed this. This is like an unwashed, unbleached, unpainted canvas. What the heck? How didn't I know that? Too sunny. Okay, so I was pretty nervous that I was gonna start putting down paint and it was gonna be in the wrong shape, so I decided to draw it out with pencil first, and well, it's already going so well. Clearly that fear was for good reason because I couldn't get the right shapes even with the pencil the first time. So yeah, I'm just doing it super light-handed. And then I decided to mix up my paint for the first color, which is the main color, and I'm trying to get the exact right tonality because once I water down the paint, it keeps the exact same tonality that I mixed up. For some reason in my head, I thought, okay, once it's watered down, it will be lighter. But no, it stays the exact same tone. The only way to make it go lighter is if you add more white or lighter paint. And the water basically just makes it more transparent or more translucent. So in those upper layers, for example, I added more white to make it lighter, and with it watered down, it really comes through in that lighter tonality as well. I can really see the pencil markings on the painting, and that freaked me out, so I'm erasing them. But oh wait, they wouldn't actually erase, so be very light-handed. I really noticed that if I watered the canvas directly with that spray bottle, it helped all of the colors really spread. And a little fun fact about that spray bottle is it smelled like peppermint every single time I used it because I had peppermint oil mixed in there from my little bee/hornet situation in the summer. Now I have that added benefit of every time I use it, it smells like peppermint. Okay, so I decided I might give you just a couple little tips as we're going along. These are tips that I've learned. Okay, so the first one is to get this kind of effect, I'm always diluting the paint, which is acrylic paint, with a little bit of water. So I'm always like dipping my brush in some water, adding it to the mixture, and I'm even like wetting the canvas first before, if you want more of like that watercolor kind of look. The benefit of using acrylics is that once they dry, they're like set in place. They won't reactivate, unlike watercolor, which will reactivate if like it dries, if you get it wet again. And so that's how you're getting a lot of these like nice watercolory kind of looks to it. Another tip is to work in thin layers of paint and to make sure that the paint dries 100%. This is one of the things that the Dutch painter really highlighted a lot. Like you can just layer the paint after letting each layer dry, and that is what gives it a lot of nice dimension and color and makes it look super professional. That's something that actually took me quite a lot of time to learn. I say quite a lot of time. I mean, I've been trying for a couple days. You can just get more depth and it will look really nice that way. That's why my first layer, which I have down, is just like a little bit translucent, watercolory, not super opaque. We are definitely gonna go for something darker than that, but it's nice to start out with like a thin layer because I have put down too thick of a layer and then I find it a little bit more challenging. It's better to work with lighter layers and build up the color, in my opinion. Another one of the little tips that the Dutch painter recommended was to use big brushes, especially if you want something to look more abstract and more fluid. We have this tendency to like add more detail. That's something else she like highlighted a lot, and she's so right. When I was watching her videos, I was like, will I want to add that much detail? But like, yeah, you do. So when you have a bigger brush, you can't really add that much detail, so. Obviously using my big brush, then adding some washes of color. Didn't really like that color, so mixed up some more to be a little bit darker and more opaque, and I like this brown kind of reddy tone. And one thing I really didn't like was my decision to use that plate to mix all the paints. So while I was waiting for that layer to dry, I went in and just started mixing up a different kind of palette situation going on there. I really just wanted to mix up these colors that were watered enough down that they were just adding shifts of color, because I was honestly just really scared that I was going to put too much down and it was going to be too opaque and it would just lose the effect of what I really wanted in the end. With this yellow color, as you can see, I put it down quite opaque, and then I just went over it with a brush that was kind of dipped in water.
and that kind of helped thin it out. One thing that was super unexpected as I was doing this whole process on the main canvas is how scared I actually was to put down color. Like when it came to the sky, I was so scared putting this blue down, and then it wasn't wiping up easily. And then I was so stressed out inside, grabbed that water container and like sprayed more water in. Thankfully, it came up when I like wiped it from there and was just like that nice wash of blue. But literally every time with this big piece, I was like nervous to put down more color. I just really didn't want to ruin it. And I guess that's one of the things about not being a professional. You know, you're nervous when you're first doing it, especially if it's something you really want to work out. I also felt a little bit exhausted with how long this was taking, just with the number of layers. And I had to remind myself that nothing is meant to be easy. Like, good things in life don't come from just a little bit of effort or a little bit of work. They come from really trying to build up a skill and spending the time to learn techniques. And I had to remind myself that if even professional painters and artists take their time to create masterpieces, why in the world should I assume that I should be able to do it quickly? It's like, if I want to create something that's beautiful and high quality and something that I'm really proud of, it shouldn't really be something that's too fast to create.
Okay, so time for some more tips that I'm realizing. First of all, I'm loving the way that this is coming together. A big thing is to trust the process. I feel like when I'm painting, I don't think it looks that great because I'm like layering on these colors, and at the beginning it just looks like nothing, and then you add it together, you add more colors, you wait for it to dry, you add more paint, and then slowly it comes to look like something really, really cool. I feel like I'm maybe 85% there, so I'm really excited about that. Another tip that I have for you, when you go to add texture, one good way to do that and add some detail is actually to use the back of your brush and like scratch into the paint that you've just put down. I think that's a really great way, especially to add things like grass, plants, stuff like that. I think it looks really nice and organic. Also, just like dabbing some colors here and there and then using the paper towel and taking off some of the paint. That's a good way to get some texture as well. Honestly, I'm just learning as I'm going along. I've been running into a problem. When I'm mixing up the paint, it looks like it's a good color, but then as the water is separating from the paint, it's kind of like pulling specifically this red color. Do you see that? So the color I mixed up was this brown. It looks great, but now the water is separating from it, and see how it's pulled bright red in the water spot, which is essentially this color here, but it's like, you know, in the actual pan. If someone could tell me why that's happening, that would be great to know. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this. It's just taking a process, but at the end I can tell it's gonna be something that looks professional. That's exactly what I wanted, and honestly, if I can make this all come together, it's gonna be like a real milestone for me, so.
Attempting to paint something like this is something I was way too scared to do for a very long time. And you might think that that sounds silly considering I've spent so much of the last 2+ years trying to learn how to do big DIY projects with power tools and things that are super daunting to me as well. But this hits different. This is deeper. It's about a childhood ability that I thought I didn't have. And I'm really proud of myself for taking this one on and to see how far I could come.
Okay, so it is now 2 days later, and I got all ready today thinking I am officially going to film the final reveal and show you the end product. And then I was looking at the painting and I was like, oh my gosh, I think I should fill in this tree on the side of the painting, and then this is what it looked like, and I just was not loving what it was looking like.
Okay, so just to clarify, when I say that I wasn't loving what it looked like, I mean I hated the tree. And I was looking at it and I texted my husband and I was like, oh my god, I hate the tree. I need to fix it right now, even though I just spent hours putting in the tree. You know what I mean? But then I googled it, and you can use rubbing alcohol. That takes off the majority of the paint. Then I painted over the canvas area in white and then fixed all the colors, and that just added a couple additional hours. So in total I spent like 5 hours just on that tree, adding it in and then removing it.
And I'm finally officially 100% done. I'm gonna show you what it looks like right now. This whole painting is beyond my expectations, to be honest. I love it. I think this is, well, you'll just have to see for yourself. This is my piece, you guys. I am obsessed. It is beyond my expectations of anything I thought I was capable of doing. It looks so professional, and I think that when I frame it, which I will do probably next week, I'm going to like actually build out a vintage frame. It's gonna be gold. Hopefully I can do that as well. But yeah, I think when it's all framed, it's gonna look so good, and it's exactly what I wanted in this space, and I'm so proud of myself. If I can do something like this from scratch, starting with literally zero painting skills, I promise you I was never good at painting. So if I can do this, starting from that, you can do this too. I have all the faith in you, just like I now have all the faith in myself as well.
And I wanted to just close out this video by saying we should really never let other people's opinions or statements or comments about us drive what we choose to do with our lives, or drive what skills we choose to attempt to develop in ourselves. And this proved to me that even if I wasn't the best in grade 6 at art class and at painting, that doesn't mean that I can't learn something that interests me. Love you guys. Bye.